One of the techniques I love to do is shivering. Well, one of the places I haven't done that is Lake Huron. So when my nephew, Jake Romanack, who's also the host of Fishing 411, gave me a call and said, hey, one of my buddies up in Alpena, Michigan is catching a bunch of fish shivering, I was all for going there. Now, the guy we're fishing with is Erich Carlson. Erich fishes a lot of tournaments. He's done really well in a lot of tournaments over here, but he's also a school teacher and he teaches art. He's really, really good artist. In fact, he was showing us some of his stuff with these turkey feathers and beautiful paintings of walleyes and deer and these custom frames. But I'm gonna see if he can handle a jigging rod with a shiver minnow as well as he can paint, and we're gonna show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite.
While most anglers may see heavier winds as a negative when it comes to fishing, for northern Great Lakes anglers like Keith Cavias, Jake Romanack, and Erich Carlson, it's a fact of life. Of course, while safety is always in their minds, there may also be times where bigger waves can mean a bigger shot at bigger walleyes.
Shell bell. Very nice.
This philosophy is especially true of Thunder Bay on Lake Huron.
What a great place this is. Look at the size of that fish. Very, very nice.
Where east winds may make for turbulent above water conditions, but on the other side of the coin, create prime conditions underwater.
We're up here in Alpena, Michigan, fishing shiver minnows. We're targeting humps, points, and shoreline breaks adjacent to deep water. One of the keys to finding those fish is concentrating on water temperature. The shiver minnows really shine when that water hits around 70 degrees. So what we're doing is we are looking for the right wind. When it comes to wind, you know, the old theory is west is best, east is least. That's not always true here. What that east wind does, southeast wind does in this area is it pushes that warmer water and keeps that warmer water up on the shoreline. And that helps congregate those walleyes on that structure. So we're looking for that warmest water up until, you know, the lower 70s. You get above 73 degrees, I'm looking to go back down to that 70-degree range. So look for structure next to deep water and the right water temperature, and you're going to catch more fish on shiver minnows.
Good run?
Blast, man.
Hit it off the bottom.
On the fall, second or third pump.
Right up on top of that reef, it looked like.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
Why don't you work your way back here and we'll
get
back here. Jake, do you want to just get up
out of the way here in the front?
Oh yeah, it's starting to torque a little now, huh? It's looking all right one, huh?
Feels decent.
Big and hard. That's what we want. Kind of put the brakes on, huh?
Yeah.
Big time. Oh, here's the leader. Nice.
All right.
That's a good one. Right there he is.
Nice fish.
Oh yeah. What is that purple and gold holographic kind of deal? Can you get that? Oh, he came right out. There you go. Look at the nice color of them fish there. Especially in that sunrise this morning. That's a beautiful fish.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkley. Catch more fish. And MotorGuide. Accuracy matters. Closed captioning for The Next Bite is provided by PowerPole, the ultimate in shallow water anchors.
So to be more efficient when you're out here shivering on this structure, you really want to spend some time just graphing around. I think too many people pull up to these pieces of structure and they just start casting their shiver minnow out there. Sometimes that works if you got a really hot spot, but many times, based on the wind and the currents underwater and stuff, fish will position differently on the structure. So the good thing is just drive around a little and try and find them. Now, when it gets a little windier like this, graphing can be a little bit more difficult. The boat is actually moving up and down. That's going to cause these kind of humps on your screen like this. And what you've got to start to look for is like right here. That little bump on the side of that hump that's being created by the waves, that's a fish there, and there's another one right there. So what I like to do is when I see something like that that I'd like to cast to, I simply scroll back, I put my waypoint or my cursor right in between them, then I save a waypoint. And now what I'm going to do is it's going to mark that spot where those fish were right over here on my graph. I'm going to turn and I'm going to go upwind of those so we can cast backwards and hopefully shiver up them marks.
Typically, the Great Lakes are synonymous with trolling, justifiably because of the sheer amount of area that can easily be covered.
Are you like one of those professional fishermen?
My man, Kevin.
Shivering as an alternative eliminates a great deal of the setup and downtime that comes along with trolling. So while you may cover less total area, it's because you are able to more effectively pick apart the structure and even target specific marks in real time on the graphs.
Well, I drove around and marked those two. You got one of them. That's the way it's supposed to work, you know? Textbook. All right.
I'll grab the net.
Keith, this is my first walleye on a shiver minnow.
I'm just glad I could be in the boat for your first one.
Yeah,
there you go. I'm glad I'm here for you.
Feels like a good fish, too.
It's kind of taking control of you there, young man.
That's a dandy.
Ooh, baby. Scoop him, Keith.
Nice. Nice. I got him. Nice
That's
one.
a dandy, Jake.
For your first one, huh?
Not a bad fish.
Oh, he's all getting tangled up here a little bit, but we'll get him out of there. Oh, come on. Come on. Yeah, he got him right in the side of the mouth.
That one's called Topper. That's been a great
Topper?
bait here. Topper, that's called Topper. That's been
Holographic with that little bit of silver.
it's been a great bait here on Thunder Bay.
I believe it. I can see the results. That's a nice one. Did he just whack it, or did you come out the bottom?
Oh, it was a solid tink. There he was. So.
That's a good fish right there. Pretty fish here.
Yeah, they got that nice golden color to them here.
Yeah, almost like a Canadian type fish. A lot of times that happens when you get the little bit clearer water like that. But nice job, young man.
Thank you very much, Keith.
All right, first one. I like it. All right. Oh yeah, you wanted to go.
Sight Bites. Real-time fishing information from all the pros in one place at walleyechatter.com.
Whew, I'm telling you what, it is windy today. You work all week long, Saturday and Sunday come around, you want to go fishing, right? But sometimes Mother Nature throws a hardball at you when you wake up on Saturday morning. That's kind of what happened to me here. I was counting on going out today. All of a sudden I wake up to sustained 20-mile-an-hour winds, 40-mile-an-hour gusts. I'm on a small lake and it's just tough conditions. Now, in the past I might have trolled on a day like today because I just couldn't control the boat the way I wanted to. I'd be fighting my trolling motor all day long. But because of a motor like this MotorGuide XI5, man, I'm telling you, you can fish in almost any condition. I'm hands-free, feet-free, and I can concentrate on jigging where I couldn't do that before. This motor will hold you in the toughest of conditions. I fished on the Great Lakes in 4-foot waves, and I fished on days like today in small lakes and really heavy winds. Basically, you can fish just like you would on a calmer day, and you don't have to fight that trolling motor. So when you get the right equipment, don't let Mother Nature get you down. Go fishing, catch a bunch of fish.
So what we're doing for boat control here is basically anchoring up with the trolling motor above where we want to cast. Now above where we want to cast might be a nice looking piece of structure, some deep water coming up onto a shelf, or better yet, maybe we graph around and we actually find some fish and anchor above it. Now, even in this big wind, the XI5 is going to do a great job holding you. But in this heavy wind, the one thing you got to watch a little bit is it's working hard. So it might go through some batteries. So one thing that I like to do is simply swing down my kicker engine back here and put it in forward with just a little bit of thrust. And what that does is just assist the XI5. The XI5 is still doing all the holding, but it doesn't have to use quite as much juice to do that. So if you get out in a heavy wind, let the XI5 anchor you up, but if you want to fish all day, put down that kicker to give you a little bit of an assist.
When it comes to fishing, there can be a lot of things outside of your control, perhaps the biggest being Mother Nature. But working to master control over the cadence when presenting the chaotic action that is this technique's greatest strength can get the job done in all kinds of weather.
One hop, glide, tick. I only used one hop on that one.
Nice.
On the old topper there. Look at that nice fish. And I could just tell you it was a little bit different than the other, some of the sheephead and stuff we were catching. But basically, people got to remember, sometimes it's 3 strokes, sometimes 4 strokes. That's all just triggering them, right? It's that glide and that last glide. So this time I only hopped it one time. It jumps out, it's gliding back, and tick. This is what we get.
Perfect. A couple years ago, I was watching the Next Bite, and I saw Keith and Gary shivering and with Shiver Minnows. Took a lot of interest in it. Went and got myself some Shiver Minnows and had some immediate success. The key to that, I think, was paying attention to what they were doing, and what they were doing was using a very specific cadence and presentation. That cadence is key to attracting the fish. And what you're going to do is you're going to pop that bait 1, 2, maybe even 3 or 4 times, and that's going to fire those fish up. And then that bait's going to glide to bottom. You're going to hold that on a tight line, let it glide to bottom, and those fish are going to either do one of 2 things. They're going to either hit it before it gets to bottom, and you're going to feel a distinct tick or a thud. If they don't do that, a lot of times what they do is they pin it to the bottom, and when they do that, you don't even feel that bite. You just lift, and there's a fish there. Now, if you feel something different, a lot of times those fish are actually swiping at the bait. That presentation's fast, and they might be missing it. What you do is maybe you do a little short hop or change that presentation slightly, and a lot of times that'll trigger them, and you'll get that bite.
Got one, boys.
You got one?
I do.
Awesome.
Really close to the boat.
The good one?
He feels good.
I'll grab the net for
He's
you.
almost here. And he's just bobbing his head nicely. Little back reel action. Jake, you're here with the net. Nice.
Come and scoop your fish for you, Keith.
You're so quick.
Oh, nice fish, Keith. Nice fish.
After catching so many sheephead, it's great to see one come in the boat that's the right color. That's on that topper.
Or is it a topper with no top?
I've been running it for a while and beating it down on the zebra mussels. I suppose there's rocks down there. But it added a little attraction to it, I think. So, yeah. That one there, I actually got him pretty close to the boat there. I was bringing it in and I kind of felt something that glide before, so I just made a short hop. And the next time up, I swung up, he was on there. So sometimes when you feel him, as the bait's shivering, you're not really trying to catch them, then you're trying to attract them. They're still swiping at it.
You feel them swipe a lot.
You might feel that.
Sure.
And if you do a short hop, a lot of times, it makes them think that bait is wounded or something. And the result?
Big old walleye.
Yeah. All right.
Nice walleye.
That's cool. Fun. Let's get some more. Man, they fight so good. I'll just have to kind of maybe take my time with him. Or not.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkley. Catch more fish. LOWRANCE. Find, navigate, dominate. MotorGuide trolling motors engineered for anglers. Strike King, legacy of domination for 50 years. And Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. topics, leading information, and tackle and techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
I'm down at Fond du Lac, Wisconsin at the Mercury Marine Factory, and I'm with Pat Hazen. Now, Pat is a service product manager. What that means is he's the guy who goes out and fights for new features and new products for us consumers and fishermen. And one of the new things they just came out with is the Mercury 15-horse Pro Kicker, but the big difference is it's an EFI. So tell me why an EFI is what I want for a kicker.
So EFI is good for you guys in your kicker engines. It provides three main features. The first and foremost is it provides excellent starting in all weather conditions. The next thing that it's going to provide for you is good cold weather engine performance.
And us walleye guys like to fish in the cold, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so good cold weather engine performance, no more carburetor problems, no more of the issues where you start the engine and want to get going and driving and dump it into gear and it stalls.
And I noticed that there's like no choke or anything on it. You just pull it and it goes, or in this case, an electric start, right?
Yep, no more choke, no more having to worry about priming and pumping and pulling and what do I do now? Just pull the rope, hit the button, it's going to start and run for you every time.
Now the other thing is obviously you start looking at this thing and right away it jumps out at you. Here's the center handle. Tell me about the center handle a little bit and how it's kind of adjustable for anybody to use.
Right, so the new tiller handle that's on this engine is fully adjustable to meet any boater's needs. You can actually adjust the handle offset either direction up to 18 degrees from center.
Okay.
And then what you can also do is you can adjust the throttle to either always roll over the top. So if you prefer driving the engine from the starboard side, you can have it set up how you typically would, how it is right now. If you prefer to drive from the port side of the handle, you can reverse a couple cables underneath the engine's cowling, and then you can throttle over the top if you were operating from the port side.
So it really is a customizable kind of a handle. I even noticed there's a little adjustment under here where you can adjust when this thing swings down what tip it has there. So for us, we like to stand in the back a lot and drive it. Maybe you want it tipped up a little higher. If you like to sit in the back, you can tip it a little bit lower.
Right, so that adjustable down stop, you can turn it up and down, and it'll let you either have the tiller handle 5 degrees under center or up to 10 degrees over center.
So the really cool thing about this new kicker is not only is it EFI, but it's super customizable. And I know especially for us where we offset it from one side, or some guys that like it on the other side of the boat and we use it as a kicker, this could be a great handle and obviously great engine to help us catch more fish.
Adding shorter hops to their usual walk-the-dog cadence in cases where they felt something a little different in terms of an initial bite, and paring down to just a few select colors to further refine the presentation has all but sewn up Keith's, Eric's, and Jake's search and destroy method for shivering these midsummer Thunder Bay walleyes on Lake Huron.
I love it. Absolutely love this.
Kind of right on the front edge, the windy edge of this hump out here. Wind's blowing into it, just
Got
perfect.
a perfect wind situation.
Really whacked it.
Absolutely choked that thing.
Wow, good fish.
It may be fishing 411, Jake Romanack's first time shivering, but he has a lot of solid miles under his young belt. From chasing walleyes to lake trout on the Great Lakes, no matter the technique, making the right call on the type of line to support your terminal tackle means everything.
You know, when it comes to fishing shiver minnows, the line that you use is almost as important as the presentation itself. We're using a nanofill line, which is a nose stretch line. And that's important for two different reasons. One, you can cast it a long ways. In this crystal clear water, getting away from the boat is super important. But also being a nose stretch line, the sensitivity becomes a big factor. When we're fishing today, we're catching things like zebra mussels, gobies, sheephead, walleye, but if it wasn't for the nose stretch line, we wouldn't be able to feel a lot of those subtle bites. I really don't like tying this nose stretch line right directly to the shiver minnow itself. So what I'll do is I'll put a fluorocarbon leader on there, anywhere from 2.5, maybe 3 feet long. It's clear. So you don't have to worry about line shy fish. But most importantly, it's way more abrasion resistant. Even though it's abrasion resistant, you really want to check it quite often because with all the zebra mussels that are in the water, and of course we're fishing over rock structure, it'll create a lot of abrasion on that line. So every once in a while, check it, or you're going to go through a lot of shiver minnows. There's a fish, Keith. Good one? Yeah.
Whoa, pretty bouncy, young man.
Looks awful sheepy.
I'll tell you what, I'm a speed netter. If it ends up being a sheephead, I'll get it for you. How's that? There.
Oh no, Keith, this is a walleye and it's a big one.
Walleye?
Yeah.
I said I'm a speed netter. You get a walleye, I get the net.
Big fish, Keith. Oh,
It's a big one. It's a giant.
Oh man. Scoop him, Keith.
Now that's a great fish. Look at this thing.
Beauty.
That is a really nice one. I tell you what a cool place to come up and fish. We're fishing out of Thunder Bay in Alpena, Michigan. Really glad that Eric put Jake on these fish. Their two guys are buddying. When Jake said, "Hey, come on up, and I think my buddy's got some shiver fish going on." Yep, I'll be there. And this is why we came up. These are just gorgeous fish here. Really, beautiful colored, and they fight hard. Sometimes they even fight like sheephead,
I would agree with that.
But what a great trip. And again, it's just classic shivering up here. You can do this on most of the Great Lakes, a lot of the big lakes. Find some structure with those fish on the bottom, a little bit clearer water. Work that bait, catch some big walleyes. Thanks, guys. Great trip. All right, let's get her back in the water here. There you go, girl. I think you are. There you go.
What the fluorocarbon allows, a stretch in the line. So it's Keith, you're making me nervous. Yeah, I gotta start over. I'm gonna start over. I'll do it again. Meaning that it doesn't have any. Number two. Keith, help me. Keith's really helped me out. I've taken a deep breath.
Yep.
Little yoga, ready to go.
I see you looking around. Oh, Jesus, it was a walleye, too.
Was it really?
It was.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
The Next Bite would like to thank Erich Carlson of Erich Carlson Wildlife Art. To learn more about Erich and his beautiful outdoors-inspired works, please visit www.fish-fur-feathers.com.